بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم ما بعد. اللهم إني أعوذ بك أن أشرك بك وأنا أعلم أستغفرك لما لا أعلم وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد. أيها الأحبة, it's very important that the husband and wife strive their best to live together in harmony. بإذن ربنا. And what exactly does that mean pertaining to the rights of the husband and the wife and striving to maintain their marriage, especially when children are concerned, and especially if there's the potential for maintaining the muqasid az-zawaj, the purpose for marriage, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of the reasons Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us with marriage is as an establishment and a bond between a husband and a wife, meaning a male and a female, to enjoy one another and to have love and mercy between one another. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with that in our family lives. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen, and bless the Muslims everywhere. Ameen. Imam Maqdisi said, rahimahullah ta'ala, so I want to read what he says, and this is on the madhab of Imam Ahmed as far as fiqh, but the general maqsood, you'll find it in the madhahib, except for some issues in perhaps some of the rulings, but the general point here, you'll find that this is agreed upon in Islam, and it comes from Kitabillah wa Sunnat Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. قال إمام مقدسي رحمه الله تعالى واسكنه في جنة الفردوس ولكل واحد من زوجين معاشرة صاحبه بمعروف وأداء حقه الواجب عليه من غير مطل ولا إظهار كراهية لبذله. So he said, rahimahullah ta'ala, which is very, very important for us, that it is upon each one of the, meaning the pairs, the husband and the wife, to strive their utmost to give the rights of one another in accordance with the custom and in righteousness in accordance with the custom, and without belittling the rights of one another. And so, to save time, we'll just try to translate without reading the Arabic. And a very important thing that he said that we've already mentioned, وَلَا إِظْهَارْ كَرَاهِيَّةٍ لِبَذْلِهِ. And this is very important. He said, and that the person should not make it apparent and open that they dislike striving in this way. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us for in any way falling into this. And what this means for us is that, for example, the husband that spends on his wife and his children, that he should not openly dislike this or express express that he is as if he's doing a favor or something. And may Allah forgive us of this, because I know many of us fall into this. And may Allah forgive us. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. That he should not follow that up with reminders. And the main point here is that he should not make it appear that he dislikes this duty, given the right. It dislikes striving, because this is obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Although it can be tough upon us, but we still should not openly show a dislike for this duty of taking care of our families. And may Allah forgive us. And likewise, the wife should not make it apparent if she dislikes giving the duty to her husband, meaning that he has the right to have relations with his wife. She should not deny him. And then he said, rahimahullah ta'ala, is that, as I've mentioned, that the wife should have taslim, that she should surrender herself or be comforted in giving herself to her husband, meaning having relations with him. That because there's nothing greater or more difficult for a man to come home and his wife to be angry and have an upset household, because that's the place that you seek refuge from the outside world. In essence, is in the home. And if a woman denies her husband that, he will be distracted in other ways and by other things. So the woman should meet her right by beautifying herself and preparing herself for her husband. And then he said, rahimahullah ta'ala, in obedience to him in his in desires and having sexual relations, akramakum Allah, whenever he wants it, as long as there's not an excuse. So this is beautiful here. As long as there's not an excuse. And a legitimate Sharia excuse, some of the excuses are that one of the great imams, also from who Maqdisi, that he mentioned in explaining the excusable things, that when she's on her period or she is having post the afterbirth bleeding, and in those two situations, or due to some sickness in which she's unable to cohabitate, then of course these are excusable times. But other than that, she should not deny herself to her husband. And if she does that, meaning does her duty, and then for her is upon him that he provides for her by spending upon her and what's sufficient for her from her clothing and her place, her living quarters, her home, in accordance with the custom of the society or her people or what have you. So that if a man falls short in his spending, for example, he doesn't provide a home, maybe he has more than one wife or some situation, and he doesn't give them what they expect from their home, then this